Welcome back, guys. Here we are for the Love of Gaming Marathon. We have right now presented to you phantom5800 playing The Dog Island Any Percent. So, Phantom, please take it away.
All right. Well, this is the Dog Island. It's I guess we'll explain more as we get into it, but it's an RPG. RPG adventure game about a dog. Before we start, I will say one thing. There is a little bit of RNG in the form of a fishing minigame that we have to do a few times. If I get perfect RNG, I will donate $50 at the end of the run. If I don't get perfect RNG, for every bad fish that I get, I will donate 5. So either we want perfect or really bad. You know, somewhere in between. Okay. And time will start as soon as I press A on this menu in 3, 2, 1, go. So we don't actually start on the Dog Island. This is Pororo Town. There's a bunch of dogs here. It's sort of like a high-class town, coastal shipping port town or whatever. This is where we are. This is where we live. And we have mail. The entire game is played with just a Wii remote. So I'm not using nunchuck to move anything. I will be pointing at the screen and holding the B button to run. Other actions I have, I can shake the Wii remote to dig, and I can sniff by pressing the A button. I need to create a character real fast. Since this is JP, the character creation is a little bit different than on English. And I have to actually menu to get to Labrador. On English, you can just mash A there to get to Lab. But on JP, you have to scroll down 11 times. The reason that we run JP is actually not for text, as weird as that sounds. It is entirely loading screens. Loads are just faster on JP by about 1 second per cutscene. A little bit less, but around there. And that, as you can probably guess, adds up over time, even though we're skipping cutscenes. Can you throw the stick and make the dog go get it for you? Not quite. Not quite. So this is our family. We are on the right. We are the naked one. Our brother is on the left. He has a little bandana. And our mom has a hat. We'll learn more about our brother in a little bit, but first I need to increase text speed. Can we throw the dog and make the stick go get it? Man. So, this is just like a movement tutorial. We skip this. So, over here by the fountain is our first scent, if I wasn't that far over. There it is. Throughout the game, we need to find 100 scents. I keep track of... Most of them are routed in, and I keep track of that on the side. I have a little counter that I'll be incrementing throughout the game. But we need 100 cents overall to complete the game. And another game that I run is Pokemon Let's Go. It's kind of similar to that if you know how that game works, where you're required to catch 50 Pokemon. I made this comparison recently. I was like, oh, I never realized that the Dog Island shared something in common with any other game. But here we are. This guy, I don't remember his name, but he wants us to get his basket that he lost. It's on the other side of the fountain. I think he's the milkman, because he gives us milk. Yeah. Milkman makes sense. You'll notice a lot of the dogs have clothes. You can dress up your dog based with stuff that you find, but we don't do that because it's slow. So we will stay naked for the entire run. This is milk. Our mom wanted us to get milk for our brother because he is sick. And what better thing to do when you're sick but drink milk? This is the mailman. He is how you save the game normally. We just won't be doing that. So we got the milk. Bring it to our brother. Here's your milk.
Do we have time for a quick donation read?
Absolutely.
So Sparky McCalc has donated £7 and says, as promised, my £7 for my 7 deaths. Always a great time with the FTLG crew, and so glad Dennis could make it out to join us this time round. Here's to the final push for donations.
Amazing.
And then we've got another one for £5. Gir, G-I-R, has donated £5 and says, why is his head so big? Why is his head so big?
The dog is actually a brand in Japan. It's still around. If you look up the dog, I think it's just like the dog brand. You'll find it pretty quickly. But yeah, this is just a brand in Japan of large-headed dogs. Can we make it the Cat Island? No. There is another game that is based in the same engine as the Dog Island. You may have heard of it. It's Pets 2. It's a Ubisoft game made by the same developers. Pets 2, there's a dog and a cat's version, and it's also speedrun. It's very similar to this game, but Pets 2 dogs is like a minute faster than cats. So even then, people do not play with the cats. What we did here, this is a festival. They wanted us to grab 3 seashells, so I did. We missed a little part here where our brother snuck out of the house. He's sick. He's not supposed to leave the house. We're gonna find out. Here it is. Our brother has a terminal illness. He is actually just dying, and the doctor cannot do anything. So, yeah, this is where things are going in the story right now. Our brother's dying. We are going to go on a boat to the Dog Island to meet the only doctor in the world that can treat this disease. And along the way, we will be learning magical powers. First of all, let me skip a couple more cutscenes. And we will be on a boat to the Dog Island. And what do you do on the boat? Well, since you're not a member of the crew, they make you get to swab the decks. as you do on a boat like this. It's kind of like a pirate ship. I don't know why he has a pirate hat, but you know. I see that donation. Definitely have time for it.
I'll have to read out, and I also need to quickly read out one that I missed. So it was Tig Dawn donated £7. Says, okay, 7 deaths worth it for a valid game. That was obviously the previous game. The new donation is Taco Guy has donated 20 and says, shout out to Boris.
Yeah, Boris is a character we will be meeting about 40 minutes into the run, honestly.
Do we like Boris?
Boris is our best friend.
Oh, awesome.
He is the best NPC in the game. This is fishing. So the tutorial here is... There's no real RNG here. You can get good RNG with the tutorial, but it doesn't matter. More than like a couple seconds. This is actually perfect RNG, so... we got the fastest possible fish in the tutorial. Now, we need to get 2 fish. 2 very specific fish. There are 3 fish you can get here. And if you get dupes, that is also bad. So, if we get dupes, that counts towards the $5 of bad RNG. Luckily, the first one doesn't matter. as far as RNG goes. So our odds are about, I think it's 40% for each of the good fish and 20% for the bad fish. If we get the same small fish again, that's technically bad RNG. Also, you know, just vibe to the music if you want to. It's the soundtrack is a banger.
I mean, I'm definitely swaying back and forth in my chair.
That was perfect RNG for the boat. I have not had that in any of my practice runs recently. Just throwing that out there. My practice run yesterday, I was 10 seconds behind PB, losing a minute on the boat. So, good boat RNG can definitely save us. This is definitely PB possible. Good boy got the fish. He did. And now for the third day on the boat, we need to swab the decks one more time, except this time the deck is even dirtier. There's way more dirt than there was the first day. And over here, this is actually a trap because there's dirt right next to the mailman. So if you don't know exactly where it is, you can accidentally talk to him. There's a few other spots like that where we have to dig throughout the game, where if you don't know exactly where it is, you can end up talking to an NPC and wasting a lot of time. Luckily, I, for the most part, don't have to sniff for any of the mandatory scents. And now, third day complete. And what happens to the boat? Well, we crash. The boat gets caught up in a storm and crashes. And we wash up on the shore of a unknown island. We don't know where we are. Guess what? It's the Dog Island. It's where we wanted to be anyway. It's perfectly fine. No problems. This is Amalia. She is also very nice. She will show us in everywhere where we need to go in this town. And also introduce us to all the important NPCs. Well, sort of most important. The first NPC we meet here is Dr. Potan, who lives right here in his medical office. You can tell he's a doctor because he has the doctor thing on his head. And he has a tie. So he says that tomorrow he will teach us, or he'll help us he'll get us started on finding the stuff we need to find to help our brother. He's willing to help. The T and PhD sounds for doctor thing. Very good. This is Noble. Noble is going to rent us a house. How kind of him. He is our landlord. Unfortunately, the house he's going to rent us is haunted. So if we can get rid of the haunting, he will let us rent for free. So I'd say that's a pretty generous landlord, honestly. Free rent as long as we don't just have to deal with ghosts. Who cares, right? I'd be fine with that. Although his house is massive and he has a lot of people living here. Noble does own basically the entirety of this town. But that's kind of just how things are. Luckily for us, our ghost friend over here in the fireplace is actually a spirit, sort of. His species is called Ankh, and they are mystical creatures that no one else in the world can see except for us. Why is that? We don't know yet. But his name is Patasi, and he is our friend, and he will be with us for the rest of the game. Think of him kind of like Navi in Zelda, or any of the other fairies in Zeldas. Although the way he talks, he's kind of like Fi in Skyward Sword. It goes on for a while. But he's not a bad guy. He's just a little ghost spirit thing from another dimension.
I have a question for you, if that's okay.
Go for it.
Is there any reason as to why you are playing it in Japanese? Does it make the game faster, or?
So there's actually two things. So the Japanese version, every single cutscene, even though we skip it, it saves about almost a second of loading time. For some reason, the English version just loads slower. And then also, because of how we end timing of the game, in Japanese, you're able to skip the final cutscene, but in English, you're not. So that's free 25 seconds.
Oh, nice. So it does pay off.
Yeah, absolutely. And the only text-specific things we need are a couple menus. Also, I just golded. That's a real gold because my English splits would have taken longer also.
We like gold splits here.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Potan is giving us a quest. He wants us to go find ingredients, but we don't know how to sniff. That's a problem. Like, we don't know how to track things in the wilderness. So he needs us to go find someone that will teach us how to sniff out scents in the world. And this is Yi Lu. And he will do exactly that. He'll teach us all there is to know about sniffing, tracking, and combat. Didn't think I would say combat, did you?
I didn't know.
So the first thing here, this is a bear. Bears hurt you. It's shocking. I know. That's teaching you about life. We don't need to hear any more explanations. He wants us to go find a ring fragment. I will come back to that later. Too far. So some of these positions are very precise for picking up scents. We will get to some that are incredibly precise later. This is also our first optional scent. Nice little flower. So I should mention, for optional scents, we need 22 to total out 100 overall. Because we route in 78, so 22 to make up the difference between the 100 we need. He's telling us right now about emotions. So animals have emotions above their head. See, the bear is happy right now because he has a little smiley face. We can bark at him, and now he's dizzy. And if we hold down the minus button, we can howl, and he's dizzy for longer. If he has a red angry face, it means he's going to hurt us. And if he has a green sort of mad face, it means he's going to start coming at us. The reason we need to learn about barking and howling is because sometimes enemies have items. Like that snake. Exactly those faces in chat. So that was the second ring fragment. There are 4 in total, but 2 is good enough for now. Yi Lu has taught us all we need to know about sniffing and combat to sort of progress the game from here. We'll be coming back to him later to get the other 2, but not right away. Now that we've learned about all that, we can go to Potan and he'll tell us what he needs. This is sort of like a extended tutorial of sniffing, where Potan is going to tell us, so I need this flower that smells kind of like a mix between these 2 other things that you found. It's not really a mechanic that we need to care about in the speedrun, but casually you might see like, oh, well, if you found these 2 other scents, now you see an icon for like apple plus flower is the thing that you're looking for. Luckily, it's just right over here. Should be close enough. Yep. Gotta tell you how your schnoz works. Sort of. And I will occasionally make little pit stops like that to pick up random scents. I have sort of trackers in my head of where I like to be at each part of the game. And by the time we get to a place called Zoomy Lake, I like to have 7 extra cents. So right now I'm at 2. I will, since Zoomy Lake is a pretty good name, I will say that the other ones, this town we're in is Pupsville. The little grassland we've been going to is called Green Meadows. Soon we will be going to the Treely Woods. And then Zoomy Lake and a few other places. I see the message in chat, and I will say that there is an idle animation for that. But we are never idle long enough for that to happen. This is this is Frances. She is the nurse, and she's getting bullied by the other dogs in town because she's afraid of blood, and they're throwing tomatoes at her. So we need to go find her a fruit that will make her brave, called a brave fruit. You were gonna say something? Sorry.
I was just gonna say, no good idling in a speedrun, is there?
Oh, true. So nothing here. Sometimes there is stuff here, and I like to look for it. Over here in the grass is the brave fruit that we need. And I didn't see anything else along the way to pick up, so I'm just gonna go back. Rename a state to Zoomy Lake, Minnesota. Honestly, there are lakes over there. For me to idle long enough for the animation, that would take far too long, and idle animations are random. So we gave the brave fruit to Frances, and now she's going to tell us what she actually was looking for Dr. Potan, which was a blue flower. And the blue flower is over in Treely Woods. Convenient. So, I'm gonna run through Green Meadows over to the Treely Woods. I think in Japanese, the characters for Treely Woods are something like forest, forest, forest. Which, I don't know. It might be a pun in Japanese that I'm just not aware of. So these are the Treely Woods. It looks kind of similar, honestly. There's little squirrels on the ground here. They don't really do anything, but they exist. They live their lives. That sunflower that I picked up is not the same as the yellow flower that I picked up earlier. They are actually different items, because one of them is a key item and one of them is a RNG item. And I will mention, since I'm picking up a lot of stuff, we do have a limited inventory space. And that will become a problem if I don't die. So there are 2 or 3 spots in the game where we have sort of routed in death warps to also clear our inventory. If you don't want to see the dog die, you know, you can feel free to donate money and I will skip them. But it's gonna take like 20 bucks, 50 bucks, somewhere in there.
Good incentive right there, chap. Good incentive. If you don't want to see the dogs die, give us some money. It's all for a good cause. So we found an axe handle for Goliath to fix his axe, and now he was able to cut this giant log in half and clear the pathway, which is pretty cool. Goliath is a cool dude. He is strong. That is blackmail, exactly. Honestly, no shame. So we found the blue flower. This is the second of 3 ingredients that Dr. Potan needs. I just saw that taco. Hot dogger.
So that's the second ingredient. Dr. Potan will need 3, but we're gonna wait until basically the next day to get the third one. So here is the blue flower. Now he has a blue and a yellow flower. What is he going to do with 2 flowers? How is he going to cure our brother? Who knows? Golded the first split. Gotta keep the PB alive. Fair. So over here is... We're going back to our house to sleep. The mailman will tell us that he has mail from our family. Our mom and our brother will send us mail occasionally. And we will ignore all of it. As a good child does, I guess. That was another gold, by the way. But also, we only found 4 cents, and normally I think I find 5 or 6 there. Just like real life. So our Ankh friend Patasi is sick, and we need to find a way to make his stomach not upset. This is Alex. He is the poorest dog in the village, apparently, because he just lives under a book. All the other dogs have houses. I don't know. I kind of feel sorry for Alex. But he's pretty smart. He knows a little bit about Ankh and our spirit friend, even though he can't see him. And he's going to tell us to go visit the witch in the woods, because she will definitely have the answers we need. And the witch in the woods... Also, this is a new shortcut we have to Treely Woods that was not open previously. The witch in the woods over here, her name was Obaba, which I think is a pretty good name for a witch dog. Okay. And sometimes there's a pumpkin that spawns at her house. Unfortunately, not right now. I'll be checking for the pumpkin every opportunity I get. Also, hi M4. This is Obaba. You can tell she is a witch because she has a pointy hat. But she's kind of spiritual. She makes weird potions and stuff in the forest. And she has the answer to curing our Ankh friend's stomach bug. And the answer to that is we need to go back to our fireplace where he came from and get the ashes so that she can rub them on her eyes and see the dog and see our spirit friend. That is also I don't know why that happens. That is the only item pickup in the game where the text box just doesn't appear sometimes. Have not figured that one out. I wish other item text boxes did that as well. So now, here's the ashes. She can now see Patasi. Through the power of howling, I guess, partway. She gives him some medicine and his stomach feels great. Also, these little bones we're picking up, they're called woofs. They are the currency of this world. So we will use these woofs to pay for things later. And now... Well, we need to go help Dr. Potan still, right? So, now that Patasi's feeling better, let's go over to the doctor's office. Oh, Francis has an issue. Francis said the doctor went out into the woods and she doesn't know what he's doing. So we need to go track down Dr. Potan in the woods. Got a few minutes, probably a minute and a half or so here where I can just run if we have a donation.
We do have a donation, and that donation is from Hammerhead Labs, £5, and their message is dog.
Let's Go Hammerhead Labs. I believe they're the developer for Struggling, which was the last game up.
No, Hammerhead Labs was the host of
okay.
the last few runs. It was
Nice.
Red Dennis that was the dev that joined.
Awesome. So I'm just kind of running through these areas here. I should be sniffing occasionally, but I'm not seeing anything pop up. This is about where I'd like to have probably 6 cents. I'm currently at 5, just for comparison's sake. We get to learn about swimming, though, which is very similar to running, except it's through water, and it controls exactly the same. So there's nothing up here. I'm actually going to grab this, because I have had trouble with this item spawning recently when I want it to. So I'm going to just grab that now. Avoid the gators, because they do a lot of damage. And they do not like dogs. So Dr. Poten here is visiting a grave. This is a grave of his old childhood friend who died because he was unable to save his life from a disease. And he cannot leave the island until he has finished mourning his friend, or something to that matter. So already we have our brother who is terminally ill. We have Dr. Potan, who failed as a doctor in the past and was unable to save his friend. We have Frances, the nurse, who's afraid of blood. She hasn't quite explained why yet, but it definitely will come up. And now we're back to Yi Lu, who will tell us about the third ring fragment. Piloted by evil cats. So the third ring fragment is over back in Zumi Lake, the area we just got to. This is still a little tutorial-y because there is I think this is the last new mechanic outside of minigames. But perfect. That's what I wanted. That orange. But this mechanic in particular used to cause us a lot of pain. This is a series of... Not really a series, but this is a mechanic that is following a trail to a scent. And the problem with the trail scents is that the precision to pick them up is nearly pixel perfect. So for most of them, that's not a huge issue. However, there is one scent I will point out later where we no longer get it. We skip it now. But it used to be routed in as a follow the trail scent, so it's pixel perfect, and it's on ice. So every step you take, you slide even further. Luckily, a runner by the name of Remy was able to find a solution that lets us route that quest out entirely. So, praise Remy. By the way, that little... over there, the stump we smelled, we need a way to cross this little gap. And the way that we know how to do that, well, we saw the hippo. So we're going to bait the hippo with something that he likes. Something he likes to eat. Which is apparently spinach. I will skip the cutscene because this is good pace, but he is adorable. And we are going to use our hippo friend to cross the gap by jumping across his back. Unlucky. So this is the first sort of scent following one. My cue for that is the flower that I was standing on top of. It's worked pretty consistently for me in the past. I know it's a hard spot for a lot of people to just get the position correct. Third ring fragment done. I should check up here. Nothing. So I'm gonna run back over to Yilu, give him the third piece, and we're gonna see another sort of random problem that Pupsville runs into seemingly daily or every 12 hours, more than once a day. It's worth it, trust me. You can skip sleep if you need to. So this sort of problem, Yilu sort of smells something weird coming from Pupsville. And when we walk in here, we won't see the text in Japanese unless you can read Japanese, but the smell that we kind of pick up, everyone in town is sick. Every single dog has some sort of weird flu virus that just, it hit like one of them and it spread to all of them instantly. So everyone is sick. And the doctor is overwhelmed. He can't help everyone. He needs a way to just cure this disease. So what we're gonna do, he wants us to go get something in English that's called a deflungi from the Treely Woods. The Japanese characterization for it is something like, what is it? It's something like Potan's fake medicine. So if it was translated well, like perfectly into English, you might be getting hints towards Potan being sort of like not a real doctor. He might not actually have a PhD or a doctorate of any kind. Definitely not a medical degree. But our sort of mystical witch friend Obaba, she is going to help us anyway. She knows how to cure this. She has the vaccine. And she's going to give all the dogs in the village the vaccine, cure the virus, and we can move on with our lives. We're just telling Potan that his medicine is a lie and he's wrong. He's sick. Skip cutscene. Everyone's better. Obaba saves the day. So I don't know why at this point we as the main characters still trust Potan, because he's shown that he's not necessarily the best doctor. But supposedly he can still help our brother. Obama. Hey, Obaba and Obama are probably friends. So Dr. Potan needs one more flower to grind up with the other two and make a medicine. And the last flower we need is a white flower over here by the sign. The bear did not get mad at us for taking his flower. Sometimes he does, but it's never really an issue. At best case scenario, the bear attacking us skips an animation. Over here, we give the flower back to Dr. Potan. Oh. And we get to go back and save our brother. Because we found the medicine. We have the answer. We can cure this disease and move on with our lives. Game's over, right?
It would definitely be a new world record if it was.
Yeah, ignore the 2.5 hour estimate. We're back in Pororo Town with the medicine to save our brother. And just so everyone's aware, I am currently a minute ahead of PB. Although, I'm about average on sense. I could be better, but I could also be worse. Can't be over you've not seen Boris yet. True. Boris
the chat want to see Boris. They really do.
Boris is great. So Dr. Potan, he is unable to help our brother, who is literally just dying in the background, and we are talking in front of him. However, he knows there's a legend about an ancient flower on the Dog Island that can cure all diseases. So why don't we go look for that instead? He's gonna stay here and help treat our brother. Just like keep him not really healthy, but like stable. So we're gonna go back to the Dog Island and find a legendary flower that can be used to cure all disease. Sort of like a miracle, I guess, really. A miracle from some kind of maybe god? I don't know. Ignore the Ankh spirit that we have with us that may or may not be a god. Or related to such deities. We're talking to Alex and Amelia. We're just kind of catching them up because they're our friends, I guess. The two people in this village we've actually talked to. Alex has an idea of a little bit of the legendary flower. He's telling us to maybe go speak with Obaba tomorrow morning. Maybe she'll be able to help. Potassi says, yeah, that's a great idea. We can go speak to Obaba and she'll have some answers. We also need to check on this tree occasionally. We planted it at the very beginning and it's slowly growing. It's called an Ankh tree. And the Ankh tree grows through friendship. So the more friends we have on the Dog Island, the bigger the Ankh tree will get. It's somewhat related to the story. We do need to grow it to completion, along with picking up 100 cents. So, Potassi's just asking us if we know where Obaba lives when we were at her house 10 minutes ago. I'm gonna head on over through Treely Woods. I have not picked up the pumpkin, so I'm gonna sniff for that one last time. This is the kind of the last chance I have to pick up the pumpkin. It did not spawn. Unfortunate, but not the end of the world. This is very convenient also when learning, especially in Japanese. Potassi's gonna ask us a bunch of questions here. The answer to every single one of them is the second option. So just a little shorthand. Also, mashing very quickly here does not automatically select the first answer. You do have plenty of time to react and scroll down, even if you're mashing when the dialogue pops up. So I'm just constantly mashing A through that. One last check, no pumpkins. So Obaba told us that we need to go and meet a real sniff master. Unfortunately, Yi Lu isn't a sniff master. He's an apprentice. He's an apprentice. But he might know how to introduce us to a real master. So our good old friend Yi Lu will tell us where to find the fourth ring fragment, which is the sign of an apprentice, having a full little necklace that we will never wear, but it will be in our possession. So he hid the last piece somewhere in Treely Woods. Not sure why. He kind of just broke his apprentice ring and hid all the pieces somewhere. But we will be gathering the last piece here in Treely Woods. Conveniently, there's another scent by the fourth ring fragment. It's a grape. It's a grape that will always spawn, so I'm gonna grab that too. Roll the way over here. Game is it is an emotional roller coaster. Also, you may notice how I'm shaking the Wii remote sometimes. When I first started running this game, I assumed that shaking would be based on the accelerometer in the Wii remote. And I learned that was not correct. The shaking is actually based on the cursor. So if the cursor's not pointed at the screen, then the shaking won't actually happen. Which is a little unfortunate. Last piece, over to Yilu. He's going to ask us if we want to hear his story, like his life story, basically. Why he abandoned being a Sith Master, yada yada yada. And we will politely say no. It's about 50, I think it's around 10 to 15 dialogue boxes if we say yes. His story is a little long, and he gives us the option to deny him, so why not take it? We will not see Yilu again until the effectively credits. But long story short, he abandoned the Sniff Master training because he felt it was too difficult for him, and he was under too much pressure constantly. His master was a bit tough, and he couldn't handle it, which I think a lot of people can sometimes relate to. Yilu was... I mean, he needed some space, and some time to himself that he wasn't able to get otherwise. So, to get to Zumi Village here, we need one more hippo friend. And this hippo, unlike the last one, it doesn't like spinach. This hippo likes potatoes. And luckily for us, there is a potato right over here. Sometimes there's another scent that can spawn on top of it, which we did not get that lucky, but... we're gonna meet Master Road very soon. And you're gonna see what kind of dog he is. That gator was very close. He never really gets that close. He is now inside of the hippo. I have never seen that before. But this is the path to Zumi Village, and we will be taking this path a lot over the next, like, 15 minutes. Oh, okay. And there we go. So this is Master Road's temple, and he has a quest for us. Since we obviously are now his apprentice because we have the ring, we don't get a say in the matter. We want it anyway, but still, he doesn't give us a choice. We need to go find a flower vase that he hid out in the Hoya Plains. So I don't know why he hid his vase in the plains, but he did. This is actually, we have a lot of stuff to do here. One of the old world record holders did not like this area. There's a lot to do here, and it can be kind of a pain, honestly. It's a good hiding spot. So, like with the hippos, we need elephant food to move some elephants. And up here a little bit, we have one of the hardest enemies to kind of work around in the game. This boar has an item we need. So what I try and do here is I try and go slowly and pick up an extra scent to wait for him to fall asleep, and then we can bark at him and steal his item. The item he had is called a giraffe's note. And that giraffe's note lets us use these giraffes to go up to higher areas. Because the giraffe has long neck. So if we get on the giraffe's back and they put their head up to a ledge, we can run up their neck. In theory. I don't know why the giraffe lets us do this, but we gave them what they wanted, so they now let us do this for free. I think of all of the little animals, like the hippo, the elephant, and the giraffe, I think the giraffe is probably the least cute. The elephant and the hippo are very good, though.
The hippo is very cute.
Yeah, there's sometimes a scent there. Unfortunately, it didn't spawn. This flower vase also... Oh, I was lucky. Okay. that is a very precise item to pick up, and I don't know how I don't think I actually should have gotten that with my position, in all honesty, but I'll take that. So we got the vase for Master Road, and I'll tell everyone right now, the split that I'm currently on, I title it Boris is my friend, because this is the Boris split. We're about to meet Boris and become best friends. So this is Master Road. We gave him the vase. He said that he thinks there's someone outside that needs our help. And that's true. This is Boris. Boris has zero sense of direction. He has no idea where he is, how he gets anywhere. But he's supposed to deliver this firewood to Noble. And since he doesn't know how to get back to Pupsville, we're going to do it for him. And he will find his way back soon. Like, Noble demanded this firewood and Boris couldn't get there in time. He doesn't really know what he's doing. I hope chat loves Boris, because we're going to be talking to him a lot. Boris is the NPC we will be interacting with the most, by far. So, bring this firewood over to Noble, who demanded the delivery man. I guess Boris is technically like the FedEx of this world, or UPS, but he doesn't know where he's going, so we're gonna help him out a little bit. And then we go tell him, hey, we got the firewood over to Noble. Delivery success. And Boris is happy, but now he tells us, like, I really wish I could, you know, find my way around the island. So, if only there was a way, like a sort of map, not really a map, more like a compass, I guess, to be able to tell where he is. Maybe Alex knows something. Maybe. Explain to him what's going on. Alex says that there is a rock called the Mapstone that will always point north. So, where is this Mapstone? Can we get it for Boris? And Boris says, like, yeah, I would really love that, and it's a great idea. I would love a compass to be able to tell where I'm going. So, I timed this yesterday. I have about 2.5 minutes right now. If people want to get in donations, this is a really good time, because I have to run from Pupsville to Hoya Plains, pick up the Mapstone, and come back. That's fine. That damage is fine. So, this is the perfect time to get in donations. We can talk about the charity also, but I've got about 2.5 minutes to fill here.
Yeah, I'll have a little go at talking about this charity. So, Haven House Children's Hospice cares for seriously ill babies and children up to the age of 18 by creating a loving and warm environment for them and their families while they go through the toughest of times. No family should have to face alone the difficulties of looking after a child with a serious illness. Although we cannot change their diagnosis, our specialist care team are here to provide support to parents and carers who have children with complex medical needs. Many of our children need 24-hour care and supervision. We are a lifeline for those families, supporting them through their child's illness. We are here for the whole family, including mums, dads, brothers, sisters and grandparents. Haven House provides round-the-clock care at our hospice, surrounded in beautiful grounds and woodlands in Woodford Green, and through our outreach services in the home and local community. Haven House isn't just end-of-life care. The hospice is often a happy and fun place where young people can live life to the full. Haven House is where families feel safe at home and where they can spend quality time together, enabling parents to be parents and not caregivers. Care delivery can take place in a variety of settings, including home and hospice. Care and support is provided by specialist nurses, healthcare support workers, counsellors, play specialists, music therapists, physiotherapists, and family support workers. It's an absolutely amazing cause, and to raise this much money has just been breathtaking. So a big thank you to everyone that has supported us.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you everyone for what looks like 3,369 pounds right now. I think we can hit 3,500 by the end of the marathon. And, you know, it's a great cause. I hope at least a few people willing to throw in that money. Like I said, I've got... If I get perfect fishing RNG throughout the rest of the game, I'll be donating 50, and then if I don't, for every bad fish that I get is $5. And if people want to go in on that and match, that would be awesome.
And that is much appreciated.
So we got the map stone for Boris, and he is now able to tell where he is going. Let's go, Boris. We'll be back soon to talk to him a bit more, but for now, Amalia is in a really weird predicament. She's getting barked at by the Victory Gang. The Victory Gang is sort of like the dog mafia of this town. They kind of run things, and they're effectively extorting and bullying everyone. And Amalia tells us that their leader abandoned them to go live on the beach. So they're kind of unruly. Like their old leader Bill kept them in check, but without him. So this is Bill. Bill threw away his gang member badge, and we need to go find it. So we're going to effectively be claiming Bill's position in the gang as the new leader. This is also the first time where I ideally will be death warping. So I take a little bit of damage here just to make the death warp easier. If someone wants to stop me from death warping, now is a pretty good time to throw in, like, let's say $20.
Don't let the doggo die. Do not let the doggo die.
Don't have much time here because this is I'm gonna grab this badge. I'm gonna make this gorilla mad right now. And this gorilla is going to kill me. Oh, he is hugging me to death. Well, that's the first death warp. What death warping does is it clears our inventory and it puts us at the start of an area. But more importantly, it clears our inventory of all of the extra items we picked up. Because with only room for 30 items, it can fill up pretty quickly. I'll give more of a warning for the next one. This one,
yeah, it does take a little while to process the donation and go through all the form and stuff. So
yeah, the next one I definitely have more leeway or lead way into. This one happens very quickly, and I tend to forget about it because I really, really want my inventory clear. The next one, though, will be probably in about 30 minutes, let's say. So now that we have the badge, these dogs don't recognize us as their leader just because we have a badge, but so they want to force us to do some mini games. This first one is hide and seek. Luckily they don't really have the best hiding spots. They kind of just hide behind 3 of the houses. Well, we are currently a minute 40 ahead of my PB, but scent-wise, I'm actually not doing very well, so it might be a bit tight. The second dog is over here in this patch of grass. You're supposed to sniff around and find their badges. Also, this is Curtis. Curtis is, for most people's concern, sort of like the devil. We're gonna be talking to Curtis again in a little bit, and it's not gonna be a good time, or it could be a great time for the charity, because we have to fish for him, and the fishing RNG there, I think it's about 10% to get what we need. So first try saves a lot of time, otherwise it can be a little rough. We're back to talking to Boris, by the way. And now you may understand why Boris is the best character in the game. He just teleported us to Zumi Village. With his newfound mapstone. What did I not do? Oh no, I need to go to Hoya Plains. Too far ahead of myself in my notes. Boris is our fast travel machine. So we'll be talking to him a lot. Over here, the Victory Gang told us that their princess has gone missing. And here is Catherine. And she is being terrorized by these bees, I guess? Even though she's kind of just staring at them. But now we put the flower... We picked up this flower a while ago. And now we see that she's actually being attacked by the bees. But this is the princess of Noble's house. I think she's Noble's daughter, technically. But I don't know. Noble does not let her leave the house, so she has to disguise herself and sneak out. Sort of a interesting situation. This is her room. Her main quest is to collect all of the fish and bugs in the world. Luckily, we don't have to do that. Also, we're going to steal her silver. It's just kind of there. So we're going to take that and leave. Silver just is a very convenient scent to pick up. For new runners, when they're trying to find silver, because you need to... If you don't have an exact idea of where it is, you probably want to sniff. However, sniffing near the silver will talk to Dougal, and Dougal will explain to you how to find and give him all of the fish in the world. So we kind of don't want to do that. Luckily, the position is pretty easy to find. Also, this dog his name is Peter. He is madly in love with Amalia, but he also doesn't like to go outside. So he wants a present to give to Amalia, and he's telling us to go get it. So we're gonna do that later. Amalia right now is also very mad at Alex because he won't leave his book. So she wants us to help him. There's just a lot of side quests going on right now, honestly. Alex won't leave his book because he's scared of the outside world. So we need to get him a candle. Luckily, the Victory Gang has a candle, and it's literally right here. I guess they had another one under the table, but here you go, Alex. Here is your candle. You can now leave your book. All of these side quests effectively help the tree that we planted in the center of town grow. And since we need the tree to reach maximum height, the quests that we do are very important and routed specifically to do the fastest possible ones. Because there's a lot of quests, but a lot of them are very slow or can require a lot of backtracking. This quest for Alex, he gave us a riddle, and we're just kind of solving it real quick, and that's good enough. These are the kind of quests we want to do, versus the sort of longer fetch quests that we could be doing. And this is another quest from Francis. As you can see, she's getting bullied. They're throwing tomatoes at her because she's afraid of blood. She's going to explain to us now that the reason she's afraid of blood is because when she was a puppy, she believes that she murdered her friend Elaine, and then she attacked Elaine and left her to bleed to death and die. So she's been terrorized her whole life with that memory, and she wants us to go see if Elaine is still alive, because she doesn't know. She thinks she left her for dead, bleeding in a ditch, I think. So, Francis, backstory,
So violent.
Yeah. These dogs have a lot of problems, and we're here to solve them. Somewhat. Back to Boris. He's gonna take us back to Zumi Village. This is where I was a little bit ahead of my notes a minute ago, because the Victory Gang has moved on to Zumi Village, and the first member here is Clark. He's going to teach us a new mechanic about how to catch bugs. We learned how to fish earlier, but there's also bugs. And we need to catch not really very many, but in the grand scheme of things, catching bugs is actually fairly fast and a good way to pick up sense. As you can see, the tutorial took me a second. Bugs spawn in the overworld, so you can also see them a little bit. You don't know exactly what they are until you start the minigame, but you can kind of tell generally what they're going to be, if it's a butterfly or a dragonfly. He wants us to go find a specific butterfly for him, so we're going to do that. But also, there's Curtis. Curtis wants a black bass. Game of the year 2007? Yeah, let's go. Deserving. And Curtis wants a black bass. I may need people's help to count every single fish I get here that is not a black bass and is also a dupe. The thing about getting dupes is it counts towards the cents. So, well, the thing about getting not black bass is it counts towards overall cents, but as long as it's not a dupe, it's fine. That's not a black bass. So if I see that fish again, it's bad. Yeah. This segment here can gain or lose 2 to 3 minutes, depending on RNG. That's a koi or a carp, one of the two. So there's 2 bad fish. At least you can kind of like jam to the music right now, so. Bad fish, 3. Like I said, the black bass is it shouldn't be an unreasonably low chance. I think it's around somewhere between 10 and 30% based on peer RNG or something like that. Winter Doggo did a lot of research. There's a dupe. Into how the fishing RNG kind of works, and there's a bunch of tables explaining like if you enter when you enter the area, it can be one of these 4 different fish tables for every single pier, etc., etc. This is not great RNG, by the way. I think that's 4 right now. 2 of them are dupes also. Oh, there's the black bass. Okay. So 5th try black bass. Honestly, I've seen worse. One of my first runs ever, I think, was like 15th or 20th try black bass. It was not a good time.
Need to bless the RNG.
Absolutely. And this is the bug that we need for Clark. Just a little butterfly, a little white butterfly. Sometimes there's a bug that spawns up there. I didn't see it. So we're going to go back and give Curtis and Clark what they asked for. And conveniently, Francis, her old friend Elaine, is also in Zumi Village. The dog that she left to bleed and die. You can't see her right now because the render distance does not put her on screen, but she is here, I promise. She will pop up in a second when I get a little bit closer. Here you go, Clark. Here's your butterfly. And yeah, so they give us their badges as a sort of token of their respect. This is Elaine. So I guess we bring Francis over here to say like, hey, this is Elaine. These are, you know, you two used to be friends. Francis is saying things like, oh, well, where's Elaine? You can't possibly be her, but maybe, like, you know where her grave is or something, and I want to visit it. Like, no, I'm actually Elaine. Like, and it takes them a while of talking back and forth to realize that they, in fact, used to be friends, and this is actually Elaine, and she's not dead. So Francis is relieved and that she didn't kill her friend as a child. And that is Francis' side quest line done. She's, in fact, not a murderer. Even though she was probably not the best friend in the world. So our quest now takes us to a new sort of area. Exciting in a way. We've seen a lot of grasslands, we've seen the lake, but we haven't seen a desert. This is the Sandy Desert. It is called the Sandy Desert. I'm not making that up. So, Sandy Desert has scents, of course, like bananas. I'm actually very far behind on scents, so I'm going to be taking a few more detours than normal. Nothing. But by the way, this is the gift. This is why we came here originally. This is the gift that Peter wants to give to Amalia. It's a little leaf with a dewdrop on it, which I don't know. It will be treasured forever by Amalia, I'm sure. I'm sure she will reciprocate his love with this leaf. Over here, we actually don't have this quest yet, but this is an item that spawns no matter what. Luckily, it's the Ash Branch, which we will be delivering that to Jeremy in a second. He doesn't know that we are on his quest, but because we didn't talk to him, we're just gonna do it anyway. This is also where I need to start looking at my notes a little bit more, because we now have a new fast travel location in Giggly Village, which is this little sort of desert town. So we're going back to Pupsville to make deliveries to Jeremy, Peter, and we're also going to pick up something from the furniture store. We have this little furniture store here, and there's a delivery that she needs us to make to Noble, because Noble ordered a bookcase. Because he has all the money in the world. And as you can see, here is the bookcase for Noble. Literal fetch quests, indeed. Yeah, it is. We are actually fetching, in a way. So we drop off this bookcase to Noble. Happy. He's glad that he got his new furniture. Will he display it? No. He leaves it in the UPS box somewhere. We give the leaf to Peter, he will give it to Amalia in his spare time. I'm sure she will enjoy her leaf with a dewdrop on it from the desert. Get to go meet Jeremy. We haven't talked to Jeremy yet, actually. He's a wizard. But his magic stick is broken. But wait, we just picked up a stick in the desert to replace his magic stick. Miraculous. How did you know that I needed a new stick? Well, yeah. Anyway, here's a stick. Congratulations, Jeremy, on your new stick. His dialogue is also fairly long, because we're doing the picking up and delivering part of his dialogue all at one time. But he's sort of giving us a hint that, you know, this stick isn't quite magical yet. It's still just a regular old stick, and I will need to imbue it with magical properties later. So, hint at a sort of quest to come. By the way, we delivered the furniture. So now, we've done enough quests, actually. We haven't checked on the tree in a while. I wonder if it's grown. Conveniently, it has. So the tree's a little bit bigger. And what that does is it just shows us that we've done enough quests to sort of progress the game. And we're gonna do one more, actually, before we continue. Just because it's sort of conveniently here. Bill really, really likes crabs. And he can't find any. He's been at this pier for hours, and he can't find a crab. Luckily, you'd think, oh, he's at the pier, we need to fish. Why would a crab be caught fishing? You just kind of find it. Here's a crab. Bill, I don't know why you couldn't find this, but here it is. Here's your crab. Congratulations. We actually used to do a longer quest where Noble breaks his like walking cane and we need to go find glue. But we don't do that anymore because the crab quest is just so much faster. Now that we've done a bunch of quests to help people, we can go back to Road and sort of tell him, hey, we've done a bunch of stuff. We've helped the people of this island, or the dogs of the dog island. And we're ready to continue our training. And we could see the damage on that RNG. I lost about 50 seconds, which actually isn't that bad for how many extra fish I got. So, Road is leveling us up. We now have 2 more heart containers. Why they're not full? Only Ukes knows. Ukes is the developer of this game. Why, when you level up, you don't get fresh heart containers and you get empty ones? I don't know. I've never seen any other game do that. But here we are. Road tells us that we need to get a special sort of document from the desert. So we're just gonna wander out into the desert. And you may have noticed before when I was running through here, there's a sphinx. just a sphinx casually here. Well, it's gonna give us a quest. Also, it's dog shaped. It's not technically a sphinx because it has a dog head. But this sort of statue is giving us a quest to find a key. And that key is held by a snake all the way on the other side of the desert. Conveniently, he never really pays attention to us. So I get to run back over here. Here you go, Mr. Sphinx. Here is the key that you wanted. And now the Sphinx reveals to us the secret location of this ancient sort of document detailing the powers of the Sniff Master or something like that. And we're gonna go dig it up. Back on the other side of the desert, next to the snake that we just barked at. I don't pick up scents along here. I probably could, but I also don't know where they spawn because I never... Picking up scents in the desert can be dangerous. I'll just say that. There's so many places that things can spawn in, and there's no real landmarks to go off of because it's just sand. So I sort of treat the desert as a, if I am desperate, I will look here. Otherwise, it's just not worth it. And I sort of, there's been a few runners that have asked for, like, oh, where am I losing time? Oh, well, you're spending a lot of time sniffing in the desert, and it's just kind of like this big open area when you don't know where stuff is. So you can definitely look elsewhere for scents. Desert's kind of a trap. Now that we're done here, Road is kind of just like, he's taught us all he can teach us, which wasn't very much, honestly. But he told us to go speak to his master, Master Tao. Almost forgot his name, but it's the name of the split is Tao. And Master Tao lives in the Gola Highlands, which is over down here by across the river. So one last little trip here through Green Meadows, and there's a bridge to Gola Highlands, conveniently. It's like, oh, there's a little dog here. Oh, wait, the bridge is broken. So this is Henry, by the way. He has the Santa hat. Henry is also very cool, but we never really talked to him. We actually used to talk to him a lot in any percent, but we've kind of routed him out. Just because his quests are a little tedious. But Henry's an artist. He is a painter on the Dog Island, and he travels through the countryside painting and selling his paintings to make money to move on to the next area. So since the bridge is broken, we met Goliath earlier. He was able to chop a tree in half, so he can probably fix a bridge. That makes sense. But we get over here. He realizes, wait, I don't have nails. I can't fix this bridge. So, who has nails? Well, I guess the furniture store would have nails, right? Makes sense. I don't know if the furniture store has nails strong enough to hold a bridge together, but we'll pretend that they're fine for that. I sort of imagine these nails as like the little tiny ones you put in the back of an IKEA bookshelf. And I don't know if that can really hold a bridge. Also, she only gives us one nail. Just, it's not plural. It's actually just, you received nail. So one nail, that should be enough for Goliath. So he's going to use this nail to fix the bridge. Also, I'm going to take damage up here. There's literally nothing I can do to avoid it. So there's a boar on the other side of the bridge, and you can't avoid it without going incredibly slow. And unfortunately, we're really not about that. He only does half-hearted damage, so I'm not even remotely in danger of dying, but I've seen people ask, like, hey, how do I avoid this boar? I don't want to take the damage. Like, you don't. You could get incredibly lucky and maybe he won't attack you in time, but you're about to see, like, He's right here. If someone can find a way to make that turn without getting attacked, bravo. But I don't think it will be faster than just taking the turn. So this is Gola Highlands. It's climbing. There's a lot of climbing here. This banana is actually elephant food. So we're gonna move one more elephant right down here. And he will help us jump across the gap. So actually, I normally like to be almost done with Sense about now, but pretty unlucky. Where? I probably shouldn't be sniffing for this. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother. Sometimes there's a bug up here, sometimes there's a few other things. You kind of need to make judgment calls like that. If a scent is not very easy to find... Oh, this is a flower. Well, it's a melon, technically. It's not the flower, it's a melon. But making those kind of quick judgment calls on like which scents are really worth it in the heat of the moment is very, very much what this category is all about. Okay, you're bullying me. Okay, I'm gonna not do that. That snake is definitely camping that scent. I wouldn't normally go for that kind of scent anyway, but I am definitely far behind on extra scents. If I was ahead, I can actually skip this area down here. And I would really never have to come down here to pick up these sort of blue scents. But yeah, we have to grab a couple extra things down here and then make our way up to the final sort of temple. Yo, MVD.
And we just got a £5 donation. Spaghetti said, "Thank you for hosting this event, helping families and introducing me to a bunch of new cool speedrunners to watch." Well, thank you for the donation, and I'm glad you've enjoyed our event.
Awesome.
That's our total now at £3,374.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. This is... Okay, so honestly, being at half a heart here is fine, because I do want to Death Warp in the next split. Giving you that warning right now, within the next 10 minutes, I will... Let's shorten it. Let's say like within 5 minutes, I really want to be Death Warping. So you get a pretty decent leeway if you want to make me stop that. This is Master Tao. I also didn't split. So this is Master Tao. He is the final Sniff Master. And he is sort of... He's sort of like... How do I describe it? He's the karate master that is... He's the blind karate master because he is the Sniff Master with no sense of smell. He lost his sense of smell years ago, and he is still teaching new dogs how to sniff. And I will shout out, since you mentioned that, Spaghetti, there is a dedicated Discord for the Dog Island speedrunning. And we would always be glad to help new runners get into this. I need to go to Popsicle. Yep. And to add on to that, very recently, the leaderboard mods have allowed emulators. So emulation for PS2 and Wii are allowed to be put on the leaderboards.
Right, I was going to ask you, so it is on another platform as well, it's on PlayStation 2?
Yep.
Right, so on an emulator it would work perfectly with like an Xbox controller, etc., yeah?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, right, brilliant. So it doesn't have to be on a Wii, so... That is
Yeah,
interesting.
the Wii version is faster, but PS2 is also fairly unexplored. We only really have one PS2 runner that's sort of active, and they're one of the leaderboard mods.
I'd just like to run it casually.
Yeah, casually, it's still a very good game, and there's a lot of stuff to do that I'm obviously not doing. So also over here, I'm actually gonna do a U-turn and grab this bug. So there's sometimes a scent over here by the cow. I already have that scent, so I don't need to grab it, unfortunately. These caves here are treacherous. So coming in with half a heart is actually a little scary. I need to be on the other side here. Okay, there's a couple scents that can spawn here, a fig or a flower, and they're very close to each other, so it's sometimes hard to tell which is which. This butterfly is also routed in because it always spawns. This butterfly is always here, so we just grab it. But I'm gonna point this out. If you're on PC, the channel does have a few 7TV emotes for the Dog Island. One of them in particular is the worst thing in the Dog Island, and it's going to be coming up very soon. And I will definitely be pointing it out, and it's also very obvious. Within the next, like, 2 minutes, honestly, is the last possible chance I have to heal before coming back in here. So when I come back into these caves, I am going to be death warping. Unless someone,
chat.
yeah, unless someone wants to drop a 20, I will be death warping at the next opportunity.
If you don't want to see the doggo die, there's an incentive right there to save the doggo's life.
Even more so, like, I'm going to be dying to a crocodile.
I don't think I can take the violence.
Okay, so what I did was I found a key for this lady here. Or I found a flower, sorry. She's going to give me what I need to progress further into those ruins. Or the cave, rather. So... yeah, it's a crocodile. I'm blanking. Down 1. Back into the caves we go. It's still a fig. Unfortunate, because I would have really liked a flower to spawn there. So I will be looking for some extra scents in the next area. I do have to run by the worst thing in the Dog Island very quickly here, because they can just kill me before I want to die. As you can hear now and see, I'm being dive bombed by bats in the cave. They're incredibly aggressive. So the bats will be a nuisance. There is Mr. Crocodile. I need to talk to Henry real quick. Henry has he knows how to open this door. there's a series of statues in the previous room where the bats are. And those bats, we have to dig up 4 statues while avoiding the bats. Also, this crocodile has cough drops, so I need to grab those. Also, there's a flower under him. One of your favorite games? Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of people in the Dog Island community where they grew up with this game. I am a little too old for that, but I played this game originally 2014, I think. Being attacked by bats. These bats...
The enemies do look cute.
Oh, they do, yeah. These bats have... They're being fairly nice to me, actually. They have a slower attack that is a grab, and that grab takes about 15 seconds to play out. So they were actually kind of nice to me there. As bad as that looked. Played the PS2 version. PS2 is honestly perfectly fine. So now that I got these statues, I need to place them on the pedestals. And that opens the door. And now I'll have a pretty good idea of like where I stand as far as progression goes in terms of PB, because I'm about to enter the coolest, no pun intended, area. I'm a big fan of snowy areas in games, and this is no exception. So it's pretty cold. As you can tell by the snow and the penguins and the polar bears. This polar bear in particular, I'm stealing his watch, I'm sorry. And then I'm sniffing this log here because that's a scent for something called a smelly potato. Not important that we pick it up, we just need the scent. I don't remember this dog's name, but he needs firewood to melt this ice wall blocking the path back into the village. Why there's a giant wall of ice, I don't know. I don't know how that kind of thing forms just suddenly. But there's firewood over in this bear's house. So I'm gonna bark at the bear carefully. Sneak in here and steal his firewood and leave. Sigmund, it looks like. Yeah, I actually don't know the Japanese names, but we refer to them all by their English names just because that's what all of the runners are familiar with. So we melted the ice wall and we get to go into the snow village. And do the first real minigame, honestly. This is the hardest minigame for me personally. It took a very long time for me to understand how this minigame is supposed to be played, or just a strategy to make the motion controls work, honestly. Because this is a very heavily motion controlled minigame. On PS2, you get to press a button. On Wii, I get to move the Wii remote in a very specific manner at a very specific timing. And I have a grip that I try and use for this. Ideally, I stop it in the red. As you can tell, on PS2, pressing a button would be a lot easier than this.
So slightly, yeah.
Yeah. The world record holder, Winner Doggo, he is very good at this minigame. We actually have a minigame IL's leaderboard. I went really early. And he has I think it's a 24-second time for this minigame. I'm really unlucky with these bars positioning. So 36 for me is average, I think. Winter Doggo will probably nail that like 100% of the time, but it's only a 10-ish second difference. With motion controls, it can be very hard because sometimes when you do the motion and you think it should work, it doesn't always work, or it detects like maybe too early or too late. I wish it was a button press, but this is the life we live on Wii. Popsicle. This is a fairly long segment, so I definitely was looking too far down in my notes. Dang Wii games, yeah. So in Gola Highlands, we actually picked up a corkboard that just happens to go to Mary Teresa here at the furniture store. She really wanted a corkboard to build something, so convenient little drop off. And because it's one of the few items that spawn regardless of if you have the quest, we will see later that that's not always the case. It's just a really convenient drop off and pickup for us. And now Alex here has 2 more riddles. I don't remember exactly how the riddles are worded, but I know what the answers are. The first answer here is snail. I don't remember, as I said, I don't remember what the actual riddle is. I think it has something to do with like moving slowly or something. And the final riddle, the answer is backpack. Because I think it's something like, oh, what do you carry things in, or something like that. Or it goes on your back. I don't know. The other options I think don't make sense. So it's just backpack. And now Alex's questline is done. We solved all 3 of his riddles. They were very difficult with our knowledge of what the answers were ahead of time. Yes, you can play. So I actually chose Labrador Retriever at the start. There are 46 breeds of dog, I think, and you can be male or female. And then there's also like different, like for Labrador Retriever in particular, there's chocolate, yellow, and black, and there's a bunch of different ones for each kind. Yes, there are also clothes. So like all of these other dogs, you see that they have clothes. We can also wear clothes. We just don't. Because it is faster to never deal with the clothing system. Yep, there's definitely a lot going on in this game. One thing I just did was I stole a watch from a polar bear earlier and I gave it to Noble. That quest is fairly new to any percent. So the Golden Watch quest itself, Noble is never really told like, oh, yeah, you can give the watch to Noble. No, it's always like the quest line is for 2 other dogs. But if you talk to Noble with the watch, it counts as completing a quest. And conveniently, the watch is very easy to get. And that being able to just give it to Noble is significantly faster than what we used to do. By, I'd estimate, like, probably 40 seconds of free time save over the old route. Again, thank you to a speedrunner in the community named Remy, who found out that you can give the watch to Noble, doing like sort of casual playthrough of the game. And this is, so what we're doing right now is we're taking Jeremy to 4 different locations of water. So we gave him a stick earlier that he has now carved into magical staff, and he needs to dip it into 4 different types of water. So we're just helping him along with that. Just gonna run behind this boar. It is faster to be naked for sure. So the first location was the ocean, the second location was a river, and now we need to dip the stick in a lake, and I think the final location is the snow. Like, I think it's described as the snow, but there is a specific location in the chilly fields where we will be dipping the stick in the frigid waters. Make sure I'm looking at the right part of the fast travel notes here. So the route that we have, actually, there was originally a route written by Petriform, who was the world record holder for almost a full year. From that, I expanded on it a little bit, updated it, and added menuing notes for Japanese. So in the route that we have, when you go to things like Boris, it says up 3 to go to West Chili Fields, and instead of just saying go to West Chili Fields. Because I'm sure, I know that Winter Doggo is able to read Japanese, at least a little bit, and so is Aurora, who runs PS2. But unfortunately, I'm not one of those people, and I have not gone through the effort of learning Japanese. You may have noticed Henry back there had a quest for us. And the quest that Henry had, also nice, thank you for the raid. The quest that Henry had for us was he lost his bag of art supplies. Unfortunately, it's a scent following quest. So as I mentioned earlier, those item pickups are nearly pixel perfect. And he lost it on the ice. He lost it over here by this little fishing pond. But we don't do that anymore because instead we just give a watch to Noble. That quest takes a very long time if you don't get lucky. Thank you all for the good luck. I appreciate it. We're actually on a somewhat of a pace. Just throwing that out there. We stole some cough drops earlier from a crocodile. We're going to give them to Mid. He's a singer, and his throat's pretty sore. So we're just going to give him these cough drops and help him out a little bit. Just a quick delivery. Check one off the quest list. There's no real other better time to do this because we never come back to this village. And then it is indeed faster to fast travel, like one loading zone over, than it is to come out any other way. So this is, we're kind of just going into Tao here, telling him, hey, we've done a bunch of quests, we've helped a bunch of people, and he's gonna tell us, okay, well, I've got another magic book page you need to find. And it's over in the Chilly Fields. Specifically a part of the Chilly Fields we haven't been to yet, called the East Chilly Fields. I also forgot to mention I'm going to Death Warp here, so I'm sorry that's not much of a warning. This one just doesn't come up very often. This one's also very cool if I get it right. So casually what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to bark at this penguin, and he will follow a random path across the ice. Luckily, the ice is consistent, and we have a specific path to follow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is just the fastest path across the ice. If you follow the penguin, it might not always be the same path. and it will also sometimes be just slow because he sometimes turns around and goes the other way. There's an optional scent around here that I like to pick up if I need it. I just don't remember where it is. Here it is. Because I definitely do want that. And over here, too far over. So this bear is guarding a piece of cinnabar. If he will let me... No, he won't. Okay, that's fine. Ideally, I grab the cinnabar there and I am able to overlap the item pickup cutscene with the death cutscene. Unfortunately, I didn't pick it up, so I do need to grab one extra cent along the way. It's not a... The cinnabar isn't mandatory, but it is consistent in its location. But there's no reason to go over there now. And now... I mean, that's not too bad. I actually only need 2 cents at this point now because of that. And we are nearing in on what is kind of close to endgame in terms of, like, progression. Sort of getting close to that threshold of, hey, I need 100 cents. So I need 2 extras right now. And here I need to check on the tree one more time. You can actually see it from the other side of the house. It's grown quite a bit. So we're almost done with that. There's a couple more quests and it will grow one more time. I'm gonna take a nap though. Middle of the day, we're gonna sleep until the next morning. It's fine. I've done that recently. So Tao will have a few things to tell us, specifically about some troublesome dogs in the Victory Gang. And we're gonna do 2 more mini games. One of them is really cool in my opinion. It's a race. With the race mini game, there's actually... We will only ever follow one specific path or one specific course, but there are 5 courses in total you can do as optional content. And we have minigame aisles for each of those maps, and they're very optimized, honestly. But the racing is very fun. Because it's kind of just playing the game like normal, except you're racing another dog. So we're going to meet Will. Will is also a very good design. He is a very well-designed dog. At least in my opinion. He's the little husky, he's got a little scarf, and he's got sunglasses that he doesn't have over his eyes. They're on his forehead because he's a cool dude. And we're gonna race him. Unfortunately for Will, he kind of plays by the rules. This is just tutorial. But Will plays by the rules. He sticks to the path. And the thing about sticking to the path when you're racing is slow. We're gonna do some shortcuts. Because all we need to do is touch 3 flags and then cross the finish line. And that's the race. So what if we just ran in a straight line from one flag to the next, instead of taking the path? Feels like cheating to me, but this is the life we live on the Dog Island. And now we're gonna be crossing the finish line well before Will. He's kind of somewhere in the back forest, but I can't really turn the camera around. Yeah, he's back there. He's a ways back. You can kind of see. I won through the power of cheating, but it's fine. And now we get to do one little quest in the desert before we can move on to the I forget what it's called. Rune Village. So just like sort of like with Jeremy, where he lost his magic water stick, this is Sair. He's lost his magic sand stick. This sandstorm has kind of been a problem, and Sair is supposed to use magic to stop the sandstorm, but he lost his stick, and we need to go find it somewhere in the desert. Luckily, it's not that hard to find. There's a little cave off to the side here, and we're just gonna go grab it. Also, I'm gonna do a small check. Because that is a scent, and it is very common. So we're gonna give this stick over to Sair, and he's gonna clear up the sandstorm, actually. Solve all of the problems. I might need to grab an extra scent. Yeah, I don't feel too... because I did skip something. Well, okay. I'm gonna come back through the desert soon and grab a scent that... it's a little risky, but it is guaranteed. We try and skip it because it's out of the way, but this late I do need it. There is a bag of flour in the desert. It's near a snake, so it's a little annoying to grab sometimes, but it's fine. It's routed in to the beginner route because it is guaranteed, and less RNG is usually better, but it's faster to get lucky a lot of the time, which sort of unfortunate, but that is the game we play. Sometimes good RNG outweighs routing in a bunch of consistent things. This is Wilbur. He owns the sort of cow pen here. He wants to make a hot air balloon, so we're gonna help him do that. He just needs oil. Yeah. If he found like a well of oil, he could make a hot air balloon. So we're gonna go oil mining. And Peter here, he wants to give a flower to Amalia. Now, he gave a leaf earlier, but it wasn't really enough. So he needs a flower, a proper flower for Amalia from the desert. So we're gonna head on over back to the desert. I'm running into the house. What I want to do here, I want to pick up a couple things. So Giggly Village, North Sandy Desert, we're gonna pick up the flower. It's, like I said, it's a little out of the way, but this is our last trip through the desert, so and we are a little behind on scents, so it's worth it at this point. Over here by this sort of dune, as you can see, this snake is very aggressive, but I did find the flower, and it is cooking flour. It's not a flower. This is a flower. This is what we're going to have Peter give to Amalia. And now we get to go off to... I forget... This is the Dry Valley. And over here in Dry Valley, we are going to be finding oil. All while avoiding a vulture, hopefully. Perfect. That was actually perfect. That vulture can cause so many problems if you're not fast. This is just a little spot checking. This other vulture can also cause problems, but he's not as bad as the first one. And here is the final minigame that we're going to be playing. This is McCoy. McCoy with his army dog hat and sunglasses. He wants to play... well, so I'm American. I call this soccer. For everyone else in the world, I'm sorry. But it's hard for me to call it football. We're going to play kick the ball as the dog. And we're going to be doing a 1st to 3 with McCoy. McCoy is a bit of a bully. Okay, I need you to stop. Sometimes he can really just bully the ball away from you. Wow. This is the worst McCoy I have seen in a very long time. I need you to stop, McCoy. I need you to chill. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get it into this goal, and he's going to help a little bit. Unfortunate that this is technically RNG based on his AI, and it's very late into the run, but sometimes it works out. Like that time. That one was fine. And this time also looks to be pretty okay, because we're gonna push it in and be done. Not the best game of soccer slash football, but it's good enough. So this is the last member of the Victory Gang. We have now solved all of their minigames. And I almost forgot, I need to go shopping. This is sort of just convenient. Shops throughout the game, their inventory grows over time. And everything that you pick up from the shop is a cent. So that's just a bunch of free cents. Popsicle. So I just bought a bunch of medicine and a bunch of just like cold drink, hot drink kind of stuff. Just to pick up more cents towards the total of 100. And now I give the oil to Wilbur. I give the flour to Peter. We do have probably a few minutes here to go over the charity again.
Okie doke. So, Haven House Children's Hospice cares for seriously ill babies and children up to the age of 18 by creating a loving and warm environment for them and their families while they go through the toughest of times. No family should ever have to face alone the difficulties of looking after a child with a serious illness. Although we cannot change their diagnosis, our specialist care team are here to provide support to parents and carers who have children with complex medical needs. Many of our children need 24-hour care and supervision. We are a lifeline for these families, supporting them through their child's illness. We are here for the whole family, including mums, dads, brothers, sisters, and grandparents. Haven's House isn't just about end-of-life care. The hospice is often a happy and fun place where young people can live life to the full. Haven House is where families feel safe at home and where they can spend quality time together, enabling parents to be parents and not caregivers. Care delivery can take place in a variety of settings, including at home and in the hospice. Care and support is provided by specialist nurses, healthcare support workers, counsellors, play specialists, music therapists, physiotherapists, and family support workers. Haven House offers a range of support to meet the well-being needs of individuals and families. This includes social opportunities for families to come together and meet others, for example, at sibling activity days, coffee mornings. Haven House offers a 24-hour advice line, emotional and practical support, dad's group, meetups, family days, and bereavement support.
Awesome. So we have one last fetch quest. We need to pick up a flower for the clothing store. It's mandatory. This flower or this feather only spawns when you pick up the quest. So unfortunately, all the times through the desert, we couldn't have picked this up before. But one last trip, and we get the feather. We can bring it back to our clothing store / fashion designer and just kind of wrap up a lot of these side quests. Honestly, there's not much left in terms of side quests we need to do to complete the game. And this is honestly still like pretty good pace. I need to pick up one extra scent. One should be enough. I would potentially like to pick up 2 for safety, but if I don't see it, I guess I'm gonna stick to the one and hope it's good. So this is feather delivered, and now we can go off to the Victory Gang hideout and sort of finish up that storyline. Now that we've done all of their quests, they will recognize us as the new leader of the gang, which I think that's what we wanted to do. When we set out for the Dog Island, you know, lead a gang of dogs that have been terrorizing the village for weeks at least. Maybe. But now we're their leader. You know, don't terrorize people anymore. Please. Be good dogs. And this is kind of where, like, casually, I don't know how you're supposed to know this, but you're supposed to go to Rune Village. Which is, it's the most recent place you've been to, so it might make sense to, like, hey, I'm gonna go back here and explore, right? This is Tancredi. He lost his hat. Not the one he's wearing, but he lost a different hat, I guess. It got stolen by a snake in the cave. So we need to go get that for him. And this is also where I'm going to pick up a optional scent. This optional scent should be here. Not there, but like further ahead. I think the one at the front is more... Yeah. Oh, maybe I could have done that differently. Oh, this movement is actually very tricky, because you want to bait him out and then slowly walk up behind him and bark. And then here I want this starfruit. The starfruit always spawns. I actually had it routed in at one point, but it's very... What's the word I'm looking for? Pretty risky, honestly, to leave your scents until the last minute like that. Just because I wasn't sure if it would actually always spawn, but I'm like 95% sure it's always there. So, potentially lucky, otherwise planned. Now we get to do what I like to call the fast travel minigame of, we need to go talk to Tao, we need to get something for Tao, we need to go talk to Tao, we need to go look at the tree, then we need to go talk to Tao, and then he should give us a key. So this is kind of like, well, we get to go to all these places that we've been to. Tao is going to send us on a few wild goose chases. And long story short, there is one more piece of the book, the Sniff Master Manual, I think. So up to Rune Village, we're going to pick up the last page, Also, thank you, Morpheus, for the stream. I hope Paper Mario went well. This is the last page of the book we need. We're gonna go bring it to Tao and effectively become a sniff master. Yo, Julie, thank you. So this is... Tao is going to tell us, okay, you found the last page, but I need you to go look at that tree you planted one more time. Since we've done enough side quests, the tree will be fully completed or fully grown, but we do need to check on it. And it will also not be fully grown until this point. So there's no skipping some of these fast travels. This was one of the parts where I really wanted to look at this and be like, okay, can we skip any of this? Because there's a lot of back and forth, and unfortunately this is just the way things are. This is where English actually can lose a lot of time to Japanese, and also PS2, because the loading times are longer on English Wii and significantly longer on PS2. Like, this sort of jumping back and forth is a lot, and you can probably lose like 20-ish seconds on PS2, if I'm guessing. And every single one of these loads is probably a quarter of a second but slower on English Wii than it is on JP. So hopefully I have 100 cents. I think I have 100. I think I counted correctly. We're gonna find out soon. That should be good. 100 cents. Thank you. This is the key to go into the Kunkka Ruins. So we're gonna go on a little dungeon adventure. I don't know if you were expecting, if anyone in chat was expecting to be going into a dungeon and solving puzzles, but that's what we're doing now. This is now Dog Zelda. Just pointing that out there. Also, I am quite
amazed at just how much content there is in this game.
Oh, absolutely. This is also the last time I have to fish. So I believe I think it was 4 bad fish earlier, and I have a chance to get more bad fish here to raise the total donation at the end of the run. Ideally I get this fish that I want real fast, because this is technically on pace, but we'll see. I want a very large fish. That's not large enough. I'm gonna fail quickly. I will count that anyway, so that's 5. That's 5 total fish that I did not want, because I want a large one. Guaranteed. The fish here I want is always of the large variety. That's not large enough, so failing quickly is optimal. This is also a 7TV emote that is on the channel. I think it's Ancient Fish is what it's called. Hopefully I get it soon. Please. In practice, last week I lost 2 minutes here. That's why the estimate is a 240 and not closer to my PB. This is the Ancient Fish, though. This is what I want. So 3rd try, not terrible. So that's 6 total bad fish. So that's a total of $30 that I'll be donating at the end of the run. And I'll do it in pounds. So 30 pounds. I checked the conversion rate earlier. It's not that much more USD.
And that's much appreciated.
But that's the last of the fishing, and the RNG we had was fairly, like, okay. The boat RNG was incredible, obviously, because I golded that split, but the lake RNG and this sort of pond RNG was fine as well. Not the worst, but, you know, eventually the world record might require first try of both, which, dreading that day. So, why we needed the fish? We need to put it on this pedestal. That seems a little mean, I guess, to like just take this fish out of the water and throw it on that rock and then leaving it. Sorry. Donate some fish instead. So here what we need is 2 statues. I go left at the start because it feels natural to me, but I think technically they're about the same amount of time. I don't think anyone's actually timed the difference, but we need 2 statues. There's a gold dog statue and a silver dog statue, and that will open a door to what we need in this dungeon. So, all the way over here, that snake can be a little mean. So, grab that, open a door, go grab the gold statue. If I take damage, which hopefully I just don't, as I take damage, there is one more death warp I can do in the final dungeon. It does save like 15 seconds, but I will only really go for it if I'm already low, because otherwise it doesn't really save any time. But that death warp is in about probably 3 or 4 minutes, if I had to guess. Well, no, closer to 5. So there's a chance if you want me to forcibly skip that death warp, 20 pounds in like the next 5 minutes. It doesn't save enough for me to care either way, but it is a thing. So this is the door that we need to put the dog statues at. I have one of them, but I need to go grab the other one over here. And then we can open the door. Oh, I was looking to the side. I have a bad habit with this game sometimes where, since I just point at the screen to run forward, it's very hard to not go in a straight line. Because if you don't move the Wii remote, you will just always go straight. You don't have to put much thought into it, which it's relaxing. It's a pretty chill speed run, honestly, especially if you're not going for a top time. And door opens. Sniff Master Medal obtained. And sad. This is still a really good pace, but the fishing RNG at the end there did technically lose PB. Unless I play out of my mind, which we always hope for. This run was on a really good pace the entire time. I'll post my splits in the Discord at the end, because this has been just a really good run. So, Rune Caverns, one more time, we need to raise where the snake was, where we got the hat before. If we go a little bit past that, there is a statue that we can put the Sniff Master Medal that we just got. And that will raise the water level so that we can cross a gap. This snake also is very friendly. He doesn't really hurt us. He's never really hurt us. I've never gotten attacked by him. But now that the water's raised, we can go into a place called the Ancient Meadow. A place untouched by dogs for centuries, until we trample all over the flowers. Trying to find the legendary flower. This is a really... If this wasn't so late in the game, this would be really good for Hundo. because every single flower in the game can spawn here, and every single fish and bug can be found. But the RNG drop tables aren't super generous. We're just going around digging up flower petals of the legendary flower, which I guess we're going to use these 3 petals to... Oh, really? These 3 petals will let us, in a cutscene, find the actual legendary flower. Skipping said cutscene. Unfortunately, the flower is wilted. This ancient, millennia-old legendary flower has wilted for one reason or another. So, Patassi, our little Ankh friend, tells us that if we go to his world and talk to the Ankh Queen, or God, however you want to describe it, she might be able to help us restore this flower. So we're gonna go talk to God and get this flower that will save our brother from his terminal illness. If the story sounds a little crazy, I know, but I'm just telling you what it is. So this is the last time we talk to Boris, so say goodbye, Boris. He has been a good friend, and we will miss him in our final journey. Boris is gone forever, as in, he's done being of use to us. So, over here, at this tree that has been here the whole time. It's a magic tree, by the way. It will teleport us to the land of God. And I'm gonna skip some cutscenes, but I'll go over what's happening. In summary, it's the apocalypse, and there is a sky whale flying through the sky, causing chaos, and is about to just destroy the entire world. So, we are going to go here to the land of gods, restore this flower, stop the sky whale, fight a monster, and save the world. And then save our brother's life from whatever illness he has. Can't forget that part. So, this is the Ankh Road. It's a final set of trials, effectively, that the Ankh Queen demands be solved, or she will not meet with us, or something of the matter. And there is also, up ahead, one last bat. If you remember the bats from the Chiro Caves, there is one more here. He's not that bad, but he can... I went too far. But he is here. You can see him on the ceiling. He's asleep until you run by him. He just kind of gets mad. The first puzzle we needed... Well, the second puzzle, we needed this flower. And now we go to the teleporter. Takes us to the second room. And then here's another puzzle. There's a riddle on that stone tablet, but we know the solution already, which is great. And the solution is to dig at these 4 different pedestals in a specific order. So we go top right, top left, bottom right, bottom left. And now, the third trial complete. No one ever said that the Ankh Queen's trials were difficult. But the 4th trial, we're in a locked room. But there's a button to open the room. just on this wall. So what you're supposed to walk up to the fence, find the scent of the button, and then sniff around for it. But finding the scent of the button is unnecessary. One of the few times that's the case, actually. A lot of the other buttons in the game, you actually do need to find the scent before you can find the button. And then that was the final trial. This last pedestal opens the door to the Aunt Queen's room. And then here, I hopefully don't get hit, because this crocodile will kill me. He is the strongest enemy in the game, and we're safe. That's a little RNG, depending on how tightly you take that turn. But the crocodile there can kill you as you're climbing out of the water. It's just, it's kind of RNG, but it's in your favor as long as you do it quickly. And you hit the right cycles. So the Aunt Queen's realm is being terrorized now. The sky whale is entering her world or something. We're now back in Kunkka Ruins again. We're basically just going down the ruins at this point. So we're gonna do a little trip. This is a switch we need to hit to open a door. Is it even fast to die here? So I would like to be at full health for the boss fight. Okay, it will be fast. Kill me. Please, snake. Snake, thank you. I like to go in there injured already if I'm going to take that death warp, but I still would like to be full health for the final boss fight. This path is actually very treacherous. It may look like I'm going very quickly over it just fine, but the ledges are actually magnetic and try and pull you off. So going fast there is shockingly difficult. And I've only been able to do that fairly recently. I used to take that path incredibly slow. This snake can be a bully if you don't cut around that corner like that. As I said a minute ago, you need to find button sense before you can find the buttons. Just a little trick here. The snakes are asleep. Incredible. They never do this when I'm here. I cannot believe that they're asleep. Okay. Okay. We are fishing one more time, but this time there's no RNG, really. There's RNG in how long it takes for the fish to bite the hook, but the only fish that can spawn here is ancient fish, which is what we need. So, it's not that bad. Typically. We're almost to the boss fight, which is one of my favorite parts. The boss fight is really cool, and I hope other people are as excited to see it as I am to show it, because it's not what you'd expect. It is not what you'd expect of a boss.
I'm pretty hyped for it.
So, like, we've seen bears, we've seen snakes. I got bullied. That snake is also a little bit of RNG, but I don't get to enter the boss fight at full health. Hopefully it doesn't matter. Because as I said earlier, dying wipes your inventory, so I don't have any kind of healing items or anything. My inventory is currently 100% empty. And we're gonna fight a boss. And skipping the cutscene that introduces him, and here he is. As you can see, he is a skeleton of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is, I think, yellow. Nope, it's green. getting a little lucky with the attacks he's doing. He only did 1 heart to me. That's fine. It should be blue. Nope. I was wrong. It's yellow. So what I have to do is I have to hit these switches, but it has to be the right switches. The meter was high, so it shouldn't be blue. It should be green. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is much easier because he trips, he falls. I dig in the middle of the room. I hit the last button, and we beat the boss.
GG.
This last segment is an auto scroller. I'm gonna call out one of mine and my friends, pretty frequent viewers. We used to think that this was RNG. Not gonna lie, everyone used to think this was just RNG. But she noticed a pattern. And there is in fact a very specific route that you can take through these mines that is 100% consistent and faster than just kind of playing the minigame. So we take the paths left, 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 right, right, left, right, middle, left, left, middle, and we get through here in about 2 minutes, where some of the slower paths can take 3 or 3.5 minutes. And that's just, we always thought it was just RNG at the end of the run. So finding out it wasn't was kind of just incredible. And that's a super recent discovery in terms of like this game's progress.
Yeah, didn't you say the game came out in 2007?
Yes, and we discovered this optimal path in the past 6 months.
That's very good.
So shout outs to our our friend Gay Plant. She figured this out effectively just by noticing patterns that no one else had noticed. So that's the second to last one. And the last one should be a cherry in the middle. Yep. And that's the end of the minecart track. So, all that's really left here is we are going to be skipping cutscenes and mashing through text. I will just say, like, I mean, we solved the apocalypse. We defeated the dinosaur. We are going to save our brother during credits. We really did everything we set out to do and more. So I just want to use this time to say thanks for having me here to show this very strange RPG. The Dog Island is honestly very cool for what it is.
Thank you for being here.
The developer Ukes, this and Pets 2 are one-of-a-kind games in terms of their development. Every other game they make is a wrestling game. Licensed wrestling, WWE, AWF, etc., etc. So this is just kind of a weird standout for them. And really unexpected. I do run mostly RPGs, and my name has been below me the entire time. So if you like watching RPGs, speedrun, I would be glad to have anyone just come chill and hang out. Time is going to end on the first frame of credits after I skip this final cutscene. And as I said earlier, this cutscene skip is Japanese exclusive. So there's 2 loading screens here. And time. So the time that I have on my splits is a 2:33:11. That's 12 seconds off my PB. That's not that's not bad at all. So yeah. Thank you everyone. I will be dropping 30 pounds. And if anyone wanted to match that from the fishing exploits I had, feel free. Yeah. Phantom and this is the Dog Island. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for being here at FTLG. It's been an absolute pleasure. What an entertaining run. And we definitely hope you can submit again for us.
Absolutely, me too.
So up next will be It's Ticker. That was meant to be hosted by Axington123. Unfortunately, it's not going to be available, so you are going to be stuck with me again for the host. And that is The Simpsons game on New Game Plus. So stay tuned, guys, and we will be right back.
I'm thinking back on all those times when I felt closed off from all that I could become, eager but too scared to climb. Wanted to please my friends, but it felt like the end on myself. I was shut down and all drained out. I was lost, so I had to change. Yeah, I shook off all the bad vibes, cut me loose from the pettiness they turned on me. But now I am perfectly free to be me. This is who I am. This is who I am now. No matter what they say, this is who I am. This is who I am now. They think that I have lost my mind, that I'm not being true, but they don't have a clue. 'Cause this is me when I cut out. the shallowness and everything I suppress to fit in a small frame. But I won't play your game anymore. So I had to change. Yeah, I shook off all the bad vibes, cut me loose from the pettiness. They turn on me, but now I am perfectly free to be me. This is who I am. This is who I am now. No matter what they saying. This is who I am. This is who I am now. I'm gonna let them talk, but I am following nobody else. How can I be resentful when I finally respect myself? I shook off all the bad vibes, cut me loose from the pettiness. They turn on me, but now I am perfectly free to be me. This is who I am. This is who I am now. No matter what they're saying. This is who I am. This is who I am now.
Time is more precious in these situations because you know you don't have a lot of it.
Initially, you don't know if there is time. If there is time, how much time?
We have to make every moment count, really. Every minute, every breath.
Our life is tough.
It's difficult to get away from the sadness.
And sometimes it's like I'm not able to cope.
Each family is very unique, so the support that we offer is really based around choice.
We're led by them, really, and it's important that we are here and able to
Haven House are there for every time. They've been there for all the highs and all the lows.
I help Mummy with the cooking.
Wow.
Just having that respite care and knowing that we can regularly come here, I can't tell you how amazing that is.
Without them, I think I would probably feel depressed and guilty as a mother and a bit more worthless.
They've enabled us to see the whole picture and not be scared of it.
They're always there for you and they're always there to support you.
We all now understand more and cope better because we know there's a support network in Haven House.
Every hour of care counts to families, and every hour of fundraising means we can continue to be here for them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to help families through unimaginable times or to help them